But that's not the only reinforcement Buffalo is bringing along. Rookie linebacker Keontae Jenkins has also been elevated. Now, Jenkins probably won't be out there calling plays on defense, but he has real value, both as a special teams contributor and as insurance in case Shaq Thompson, who's questionable with an injury, can't go. Jenkins, an undrafted rookie out of Virginia Tech, showed flashes in preseason, tallying 6 tackles and showcasing speed and effort that coaches love. For him, this is a chance to make a mark, even if it's in the often overlooked third phase of the game. Let's not forget, special teams often swing tight games, and in a division rivalry like Bills-Jets, those hidden yards, those coverage plays, those hustle tackles, they matter. Jenkins stepping into that role could prove more important than it looks on paper. Now let's zoom out. What does this mean for Sunday's matchup against the Jets? For starters, Buffalo's defensive line depth just got thinner. Without Ed Oliver and with Dwayne Carter already lost for the season, guys like Daquan Jones, Greg Rousseau, and the rookies like TJ Sanders will have to shoulder the load. The Jets are going to come out leaning on their run game, led by Breece Hall, who just gashed the Steelers for over 100 yards in Week 1. You know they've watched the Ravens tape from last week and see this Bills run defense is vulnerable. That's where Logg's elevation becomes critical. He may not play a ton of snaps, but when he's in there, he has to hold his ground, eat up blockers, and keep Hall from finding daylight. It's a tall task, but these are the moments when depth guys can transform into contributors. On the flip side, elevating Jenkins also signals that McDermott and Brandon Beane aren't taking chances. They're making sure linebacker depth isn't an issue, especially with the Jets' run-pass option game under Justin Fields. Fields' mobility can cause chaos for undisciplined defenses, and having fresh legs like Jenkins available could be huge if Buffalo needs to rotate bodies late in the game. And let's not forget the context here. This is Buffalo's first AFC East clash of the season. These division games count double. Beating the Jets on the road not only stacks another win in the column, but it also sets the tone for who's in control of the division early on. The Bills can't afford to let injuries be an excuse. They've got to show they can adapt, plug in the next man, and still dominate. It's also worth noting how this speaks to the front office's overall roster-building philosophy. Brandon Beane has made sure that the practice squad isn't just filler, it's a safety net of players who know the system, who've been in the building, and who can step in at a moment's notice. Elevating Logg and Jenkins isn't just a band-aid, it's the execution of a plan Buffalo has in place to deal with the grind of a long NFL season. Bills Mafia, let me throw it back to you. Do you believe this defense can tighten up without Ed Oliver? Do you trust the rookies in the trenches to hold the line? And on offense, is Keon Coleman ready to go toe-to-toe with Sauce Gardner in what could be one of the most entertaining WR versus CB duels of the early season? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I want to hear from you. This channel is about building conversation, about giving fans a place to break down the highs, the lows, and everything in between. At the end of the day, this game comes down to one thing: execution. If Buffalo stops the run, limits Fields' legs, and lets Josh Allen cook, they should walk out of MetLife 2-0. But if the same cracks we saw last week resurface, we could be in for another nail-biter. Bills Mafia, what's your call? Blowout win, another close thriller, or an upset loss? That's going to do it for today's breakdown. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more exclusive Bills coverage, and share this video with another member of Bills Mafia. Week 2 is here, and the road to the Super Bowl is paved one game at a time. Let's see if the Bills can stack wins and make another statement in the division. Go Bills!
All right, Bills Mafia, let's dive right in. The Buffalo Bills are a team that has made it crystal clear this season. The mission is improvement. Every single week, every single snap. From Sean McDermott's defensive mindset to Josh Allen's command of the offense, the focus is on stacking wins and putting themselves in the best possible position to make a Super Bowl run. And family, before we break down this Week 2 clash against the New York Jets, I need you to do me a favor. Hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more insider-style Bills coverage. Every click helps grow our community, and trust me, this season, you're going to want to be along for the ride. Now, let's talk about the headline. Can the Buffalo Bills stack wins in Week 2 against the Jets? Well, the Bills are coming off one of the wildest openers we've seen in recent memory, a 41-40 thriller over the Baltimore Ravens. Josh Allen and the offense showed resilience, storming back in the fourth quarter, and kicker Matt Prater sealed the deal with a clutch game winner. The national media was quick to crown Buffalo as the team to beat in the AFC, but let's pump the brakes for a second. While the win was electric, it also exposed some glaring issues on defense, particularly against the run. Derrick Henry bulldozed his way through the Bills' front seven, and now, with Ed Oliver sidelined, those cracks could become craters if adjustments aren't made quickly. So what's on the menu for Week 2? A road trip to MetLife Stadium to take on the New York Jets in their first AFC East clash of the season. And make no mistake, divisional games hit different. They're gritty, emotional, and often unpredictable. The Jets may be banged up, but they're still dangerous, especially with Breece Hall leading their ground game and Justin Fields under center. Now let's start with Buffalo's biggest challenge, the run defense. Last week, Hall carried the ball 19 times for 107 yards against the Steelers. He's explosive, patient, and has a knack for turning small openings into big gains. Combine that with Justin Fields' ability to tuck and run, and suddenly the Jets have a two-headed monster that can exploit Buffalo's weakness. Without Oliver in the trenches, and with rookie defensive tackles TJ Sanders and Deone Walker being thrown into the fire, the Bills will need to rely heavily on linebacker play. Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard will have to diagnose plays quickly and fill gaps before Hall or Fields gets into open space. If Buffalo doesn't improve here, they could be chasing points once again. But let's be honest, Bills Mafia, this team has a knack for forcing turnovers, and that could be the great equalizer. Remember last week? Buffalo couldn't stop Henry all night, but when it mattered most, Oliver punched the ball out, giving the Bills the possession they needed to win. This week, that turnover magic will need to come from someone else. If Buffalo can keep Fields in the pocket and pressure him into mistakes, interceptions are absolutely on the table. That's the blueprint. Now let's flip the script to the offensive side of the ball. Josh Allen is the engine that makes this machine run. Against Baltimore, he delivered when the game was on the line, and now he's got an opportunity to feast against a Jets secondary that isn't nearly as deep as last week's opponent. Of course, Sauce Gardner is going to be a problem. He's long, physical, and could shadow Keon Coleman for much of the game. But let's not forget, Coleman is coming off his best game as a pro. 8 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown. This is the kind of matchup where rising stars prove they belong. If Coleman can hold his own against Gardner, it opens up everything else for this offense. And don't sleep on Khalil Shakir and Dalton Kincaid. Shakir's quickness out of the slot and Kincaid's ability to stretch the field down the seam could be matchup nightmares for a Jets defense missing key depth players. James Cook, who thankfully is healthy after some midweek hamstring concerns, adds another layer with his versatility as both a runner and pass catcher. Against Baltimore, he totaled over 100 all-purpose yards. If the offensive line gives Allen enough time, this group has the firepower to overwhelm New York. But here's what excites me most about this matchup. It's a chance for Buffalo to show growth. Week 1 was all about surviving chaos. Week 2, it's about proving you can correct mistakes, dominate where you're supposed to dominate, and take care of business in the division. The Jets aren't walking into this one at full strength. Wide receiver Josh Reynolds has been ruled out, rookie tight end Mason Taylor is banged up, and their offensive line looked shaky against the Steelers. Garrett Wilson is the one true weapon Buffalo absolutely has to account for. He's Fields' favorite target and capable of wrecking a game with one big play. If rookie corner Dorian Strong or whoever lines up opposite Christian Benford can hold their own, it'll go a long way towards shutting down New York's aerial attack. And here's the thing. The Bills don't just need a win. They need a statement, a win that quiets the critics questioning their run defense, that shows rookies like Sanders and Walker can rise to the occasion, and that proves this team isn't just Josh Allen bailing them out in crunch time. A win that plants a flag in the AFC East and says this division still runs through Buffalo.
Now let's talk about the big news. The Buffalo Bills have officially elevated 2 defensive reinforcements for Sunday's massive Week 2 road showdown against the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. With Ed Oliver sidelined due to that unfortunate ankle injury, the Bills are turning to Zion Logue at defensive tackle and rookie linebacker Keontae Jenkins to step in and fill some crucial depth gaps. This is exactly the type of storyline that makes early season football so fascinating. You go from 1 week celebrating Oliver's game-changing forced fumble against Derrick Henry and the Ravens to suddenly asking, who's going to hold the line without him? And that's where Zion Logue comes in. Zion might not be a household name across the league, but for Bills insiders, his story is worth paying attention to. At 6'6", he's got the frame, the athleticism, and the pedigree, a Georgia Bulldog who cut his teeth in the SEC against some of the nastiest offensive lines in college football. Buffalo picked him up off Atlanta's practice squad last October, and while his playing time in 2024 was limited, just 2 games, 36 snaps, and 2 tackles, this is his chance to prove he belongs in the NFL trenches. Daquan Jones summed it up perfectly this week when he said, "Zion's a heck of a player. I'm happy for him to get an opportunity this week." That right there isn't just veteran respect, it's recognition that Logue has put in the work behind the scenes. And now, with Oliver unavailable, the door swings wide open. This is one of those next man up moments that defines a player's career.